nueva es la luz, fuerte el pulso, grave es la mano de Clem. Novedad, arte nueva, hierro, hierro de libertad, ahora, por siempre.
The words of Enrica Marquez Jimenez speak of an artist whose name needs no introduction. Clementine Valery has altered the canons of beauty. She has inverted and overturned them. She has created an amazing and unique technique known as Repassage. Born in France in the small village of Bayeux in the Castelveder area, known for its oasis and metallurgic industry, Clementine spends her childhood in the village, soon showing a strong passion for the visual arts. As often happens with the genius, her passion and capabilities are misunderstood by her family.
I remember my father saying all the time, "Why don't you draw anything normal, Clem?" But I wanted to contaminate his mirror. When I look at those drawings nowadays, I realize that they might seem strange. I even created a miniature-sized basketball court. Here it is, look. I started to draw everywhere I could. At that time, I met my first boyfriend.
Clem,
Clem was perfect, extraordinary, but we had a problem when it came to sex. I could barely even finish getting my clothes off before she would take out her pencils and begin to sketch me. Had I only understood the truth about her artistic qualities, I would have never showered and now I would be rich.
I feel like laughing when I think about the moment that I decided upon the college that I wanted to attend. I asked my parents if I could go to the École Nationale Supérieure des Beaux-Arts. My father and my mother organized a family reunion. The main motive was to prevent me from doing something crazy. My father carried on saying that I had no talent, that it was pointless for me to continue in the direction I am headed. At that point, I only wanted to get away, and I decided on art and architecture at the Sorbonne University in Paris.
Clementine's Parisian adventure is an uphill road. To afford the university, the rent, and a figurative art course attended behind her parents' back, Clementine works at a restaurant food chain, Lyon, where they serve mussels and fries. It is at the École de Malik where Clementine meets Rida, a teacher.
J'ai connu Clémentine à l'école de Malik.
I met Clementine at the École de Malik, where I introduced her to the concept of l'outre. At that time, I was only trying to introduce her to the emotion and the plethora of cubism through the famous technique of le trip.
Comme ça. Comme ça. Exprime-toi.
During my stay in Paris, I met my second significant true love, Richard. He was so manly, so masculine. He knew how to make me feel like a real woman.
Today, Richard Fries is a noteworthy digital artist living back in Liverpool. Clementine's memory still beats strongly in his heart.
Clem. It was cool. It was great. It was wonderful. And I sit together. I play and she listens. It's perfect.
But eventually, her love affairs end and Paris presents no new prospects to Clementine. An internship by the Sorbonne offers her the opportunity to go back to her native village for the restoration of the world-famous arras of Bélier, dated back to the 11th century.
I was back home, but I did not feel like living with my parents. I kept moving from one apartment to another and to another, staying over my friends' places. And I had to work exhausting working shifts. My head was fucked up. It was so messed up that I took my clothes to work with me so that I could iron them during my breaks. One morning, I remember it as if it was yesterday. I received a phone call. I answered, and I asked who it was, but no one answered. I asked again, but still nothing. I put the iron down on its side. Then, since there was no signal, I started to walk around, forgetting that I had left the iron on the shirt, but the shirt was in the arras.
It is thrilling to hear one of the most important momentums of the figurative and visual arts, as told by one of its protagonists. We could compare it to the first projection of the Lumière brothers, the decomposition of the aesthetical canons which defined Picasso's style. This moment seals the world's farewell to contemporary art. It is the birth of the unusefulness.
As soon as I removed the iron, I was struck by the expressive power of the board. I understood that I had by chance discovered the final tool for giving strength and vigor to the fabric. However, in that moment, I was overwhelmed by fear. I thought about my parents, my mothers and fathers and friends' words. The arras had to be shown to the public the following day, so I folded once, twice, 3, 4 times, and I acted as if nothing had happened. And the day after, I collapsed.
La première fois que j'ai vu l'opéra de Clementine, je n'ai pas cru à mes yeux.
I could not believe my eyes. It was as if the Gioconda was melting with the David, as if the Pyramid were joining the Colosseum. I immediately called the international press, because the world had to discover the burning truth. The Arras, notwithstanding its beauty and ancient history, appeared boring and static. Now it had returned to life. It pulsed and could bring these emotions to future generations.
Big Bang de l'art.
The morning after the presentations, I read Jean's words, and I felt that this time the world had understood them, that my expressive strength had found a channel. I ran to the exposition and I pushed my way through the journalists to explain that I was the creator, but nobody wanted to believe me. Then I decided to give my first live performance. I took the iron out of my bag and I wore the shirt of the first journalist in front of me.
The live performance was a triumph, also thanks to Clementine's courage and tenaciousness. The Repassage style has finally emerged, not ending like one of the many underground art styles. Nowadays we see this style in the cinema, fashion and architecture, and there is not any art school that is not replacing paintbrushes with the more eclectic and expressive irons.
Mon fils, je ne comprends pas mon fils. C'est pour dire que je ne suis pas un bon père. C'est pour dire. Tu me dis que c'est pour dire. Mais ne comprends pas le repassage. Le repassage ne se comprend pas. C'est une merde, le repassage. C'est une merde.